So in this video on the leads functionality within Microsoft Dynamics 365 for Sales, we're going to cover off the benefits of the lead functionality. Now, this is one in a series we've done specifically on the leads functionality in Dynamics. You can see links to others in the series. Also, if you've got suggested content ideas or you need any help with Microsoft Dynamics, please see the links below. So let's talk about the benefits of the lead functionality. Now, I think it's worth saying at this point, there's an overarching principle, and that is that the better your ratio of converting leads to end business, the more successful you're going to be. And it's amazing how highly leveraged that is. And I certainly, if you don't know it already, I invite you to sort of run the numbers. Even small changes in the lead conversion ratio can have a highly leveraged effect on the bottom line. So just work it through with your particular business. You know, if somebody went from, say, 10% to 15% conversion rate, that has a huge impact on sales, but particularly on the bottom line, because ultimately it's completely efficient. You're not having to spend more money to get more leads in. You're just converting more of the ones you already receive. So it has a very leveraged effect. Now, with that in mind, let's talk about leads functionality. Now, we have to be a little bit careful here, because just because we get leads doesn't mean they need to go through the leads module in Dynamics. That's a bit of a myth. Now, people can use leads any which way they want. That's down to individual users of systems. Every business is different and business processes are different. So how people use systems is down to them. But in terms of how we tend to see the leads area used, it's more of a staging area where you're trying to control the quality of data getting into your system. So it's typically used by people getting a lot of leads come through. If I actually go onto my screen and just show you the leads area, in terms of what we see that leads function typically being set up as, is here you've got this sort of my open leads, and what is tending to happen is that we've got people who might have they might be doing social media advertising, they might have one or many landing pages. Typically those might have those landing pages integrated with the CRM system, so when somebody filled out a form, it pushes it into the CRM system. They may well have their contact page set up or contact pages set up, so that pushes any form submissions into the system as leads. They might have their sort of inquiries at or info at email addresses set up, so any emails coming in to those addresses are actually pushed in automatically as leads as well. They might have internal forms set up so that internal users who aren't using the CRM system can actually perhaps add telephone inquiries, or perhaps they want to sort of refer potential business opportunities and push those into the system. It may well be that, you know, we're from time to time bringing in spreadsheets of data. Perhaps we've been to a trade show and we want to download the people we met at the show or the people that attended the show. We want to bring those into the staging area and sort of review that data before we commit it into the database. So that's typically how that leads function works. If I look at that within the system here, I've got my open leads view. So as part of everything I've described, I might be using Microsoft's predictive lead scoring capability, as I can see on the screen here. Now, I've covered all these topics separately in the work we've done on leads. So you can, as I say, you can see links to that series below. They may be using, as I say, predictive lead scoring. They may have the system's automated routing capabilities set up so that incoming leads can be pushed straight to the best person to deal with those leads. We may have lead sequences set up, so we may have automations in terms of how that lead gets responded to and the actions that we want our sellers or the people who are processing the leads to undertake. We're typically going to have a range of dashboards and views, as we've got here, to help us monitor all the leads coming into the system. But essentially what we're trying to do is look at these leads and sort of move them to two states. Effectively, we either want to disqualify them because we don't want them in our database at all, and we want to qualify them. Now, we may well want to improve the data quality before they go into the main system, but one way or another, the leads area is something of a transition zone. We either want that lead disqualified or they want that lead qualified. So if I go to Joe Scott's record here, this is all test data, by the way. I can look at this record, I can improve the data in it until the point I'm happy with it. And when I'm happy with it, I can qualify it, and I can create as appropriate, a new contact record, a new account record, and if I want to, a new opportunity record. Now, if that data already exists in the system, I could simply link this particular lead to that existing data. We don't lose track of that inquiry, if you like. So that's typically how I would see the leads function being set up within Dynamics. Now, what are the benefits of doing that? Well, as I alluded to at the start of this video, one of the key aspects is to improve that conversion, because what this setup does is help that in a number of different ways. Firstly, because particularly if you've got integrations where the leads getting pushed in, you've got automations, you've got leads getting pushed straight out to sellers, it helps people respond to leads faster. And generally, if you can respond to leads faster, you're going to close more of them. It also gives us a sort of a closed loop control of the leads coming through into the system. So once they're in the system, we're not going to lose track of them. The people that are working on them can see them. The people managing the people that are working on them can see them. We don't lose leads. There isn't sort of leads leakage. And particularly over the long term, this is typically an issue that people might respond to leads immediately, but the buyer themselves, their buying profile might be 6 months, 12 months, 2 years down the line, at which point people can sort of lose focus on them. So it just keeps attention on the leads that are coming through. We can also allow marketers, for example, to develop lead nurturing sequences so that the leads that we do get through, that we continue to sort of nurse them along and develop them over time. And what it also allows us to do is develop and test best practices for converting leads. It always amuses me a little bit that organizations spend huge amounts of time doing things like A/B testing on landing pages, but they actually do very little sort of testing on the best practices for converting a lead to real business. So conversion rate is a big thing and a big potential benefit of using the leads functionality, but there are others as well. So the more visibility we have of where leads came from, what generated them, what channel they came through, and which are actually converting to end business, gives us much better sort of visibility of lead attribution. So we can start to see what marketing channels are working, what marketing channels aren't working. Sometimes we get sort of oddity where we get lots of leads through for a particular marketing channel, but not necessarily converting a huge percentage of them. So it gives us that visibility to see exactly where our leads are coming from and which are converting and which aren't. So that helps our attribution, and then that helps us channel our marketing budgets into the most productive marketing channels. Thirdly, it's going to allow us to improve lead quality, because we're not committing data to the system that doesn't belong there. We can disqualify that. It doesn't have to go in there. We can make sure we're committing data to the system once that data is complete. We can make sure that we improve the data before we commit it into the system, and we can avoid committing data into the system that already exists, or making sure we're managing that duplication process. So by having this sort of staging area, we can make sure the overall quality of data in the system is maintained and improved over time. And finally, because we can automate a lot of these tasks, a lot of these activities, it's going to free up people's time to be more productive in other areas that help our business grow and scale. So hopefully that sort of covers some of the benefits of using the lead functionality within Dynamics. As I say, this is one in a series that we've done specifically on the leads functionality. You can see others in the series below. Also, if you've got any suggested content ideas or you need any help with Microsoft Dynamics, please see the links below. Anyway, thanks very much for your time today and hopefully see you again soon.